Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, boys and girls, I have in the past been criticized for judging a man based on his wife, right? Or maybe by the way they do things and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, anybody that's been married for any length of time or has ever been married in the past before knows that who you pick as your spouse, who you pick as your wife, has a major influence on who you end up being as a person and how your relationship goes, and honestly, just how you live your life, and in some cases, how you actually view the world. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a very great example of that today because David Tennant has been on a press tour. He's been getting some awards. He's been doing all this other kind of stuff out there. And obviously, we saw the disastrous dumpster fire that was his return, although it's not canon as far as I'm concerned for any of the Doctor Who nonsense, none of the Chris Chibnall stuff or the new Disney RTD stuff is canon as far as I'm concerned. That's why we review Good Who on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. You should definitely come check us out for that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, boys and girls, it really does actually matter. You know, the line, of course, is for better or worse. And that's where the line is in there. And at the end of the day, who you choose as your partner for better or worse does absolutely affect you. And at the end of the day, I think that's something we're seeing right now. So we've seen David Tennant go out there and say some things out there that show he's kind of out of touch with what's going on in reality. And of course, J.K. Rowling be one of the biggest advocates for a lot of common sense out there, at least when it comes to males and females and that kind of stuff going forward, especially over the United Kingdom, decided to push back against him on that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's what we've got right here because Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling lampoons actor David Tennant as gender Taliban. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know if I can say that word on YouTube. We're going to say it anyway. Gender Taliban. Now that's a pretty high bar of things to push towards a person. But considering some of the things he said and considering some of the stuff that he's put out there, and I think the lack of awareness of the reality of the world and not just the little bubble that he currently lives in right now, shows you how it's so important for these people to get out of their bubbles and go actually touch grass, go out there and interact with normal people out there. And I think that's something we've seen happen time and time again. And I think David Tennant, very much like RTD, has been completely and totally overtaken by the spirit of the age. I believe he's been possessed by it. I believe to a certain degree there is a brainwashing aspect that goes into it. But at the end of the day, when you live yourself in an echo chamber and you're only hearing one side of the argument over and over and over again, and you don't listen to anybody else but your wife, well, that's a little bit of a problem, boys and girls. And our dear sweet J.K. Rowling is not going to put up with it. She was going to push back and she was going to help us make shame great again, ladies and gentlemen. Because anybody that comes out there and says dumb things like this needs to be shamed until they understand the error of their ways. And we can make all of that a wonderful thing again. So we're going to share this article from That Park Place, getting all of the juicy details of exactly what our dear sweet David Tennant has been saying and what J.K. Rowling has been said in a response, because this is not the only thing she's responded to him saying. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow, depending on what platform you're on, if you have not already. And leave us a comment down below, either in the live chat while we're doing this right now, or in the comment section down below, and let us know what you think about all of this nonsense and craziness, and if this affects your opinion of David Tennant or not. So J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter novels, lampooned Doctor Who actor David Tennant as being a member of the gender Taliban. Rowling's comments come in the wake of Tennant wishing that British politician Kami Badok doesn't exist anymore. So during an acceptance speech for the British LGBT Awards, Tennant stated, with a slogan, I attract the ear of an occasional online idiot. But I don't have social media, so even I have to be told about that by my beautiful wife, Georgia, or my brilliant wife, Georgia. Let's just start that over again. So this is one of the situations with this kind of thing, because I'm trying to break this down line by line. With a slogan, I attract the ire of the occasional online idiot. I don't have social media, so even I have to be told about that by my brilliant wife, Georgia, right? Okay, so this guy admits that he's completely out of touch. Right. He admits he's completely out of touch. He doesn't have social media. He doesn't feel that he doesn't know the pulse of the world. He doesn't understand the pulse of how the culture has shifted, how the pendulum has swung back and how things are just going. And he doesn't probably have any idea about the realities of how these things he are advocating for actually affect normal people and actually affect your average person, and especially how they affect kids out there, ladies and gentlemen. Because I think at the end of the day, if he actually understood the effects that this was having on kids, much like the reason why the United Kingdom shut down their gender affirming facility for children, he would if he actually understood why they did that, he would probably be not out there preaching as loud as what he is right now. But once again, ignorance is one of the biggest problems out there. This is the problem with these people living in the bubble. So he goes on here, and this is what was really revealing to me right here. He says, I don't have social media, so even I have to be told about by my brilliant wife, Georgia, who is the real engine behind anything we do. Once again, and don't get me wrong, I think the woman's gorgeous. She was incredible as the doctor's daughter. And it's always kind of funny that the doctor married the doctor's daughter, who was literally already the doctor's daughter, and then they had him the doctor's grandkids and kid. Like, it's kind of wild, but it's funny. But either way, she's the real engine behind anything she does. She educates me about empathy and understanding. And she's been a huge educator for me. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Georgia Tennant, I don't know, did she even take his last name? His wife, Georgia, has been educating him on everything that's been going on out there in the world because he doesn't pay any attention to it. So yes, hashtag confirmed. His wife is completely and totally possessed by the spirit of the age, is overtaken by all of this nonsense, and has been the little bug in his ear the entire time, feeding him the nonsense talking points that he has been spouting out there time and time again. Color us shocked there. Who you pick as your partner absolutely does have an influence on you. But he then stated, but I think if I suppose I'm honest, I'm a little depressed by the fact that acknowledging that everyone has the right to what they want to and how they live their life, how they want to live it, as long as they're not hurting anyone else. And that's the problem right there. He doesn't understand what kind of consequences these things are having on the outside world. He hasn't seen what gender, quote unquote, gender affirming care does to children, does to kids. He doesn't see these statistics because literally he admits he doesn't have social media. So the only information he's getting is being fed from him directly from his woke ass wife. Yeah, boys and girls. If they're not hurting anyone else, should merit any kind of special award or special mention because it's common sense, isn't it? It's human decency. See, we shouldn't live in a world where that is worth remarking on. Once again, showing his ignorance over and over and over again. David Tennant is a very ignorant man, and he's being force-fed a lot of bullshit by his wife. And that's the problem. Once again, this is a problem with weak men in modern eras. If David Tennant was a strong, upstanding man, then he would be going out there and educating himself on the realities of the world and not being force-fed everything from his wife, or just being too lazy to go out there and do it because it's easier if my wife just brings me the information and tells me what to think, which is clearly exactly what's going on right here. Now, here's the real spicy thing that kind of got him in trouble. However, until we wake up, okay, so next David Tennant was British politician Kim Badaki, and who's the woman and equities minister. However, until we wake up and Kimmy Badok doesn't exist anymore, I don't wish ill of her. I just wish her to shut up. Except I think I kind of like to let that out. Whilst we do live in a world, I'm honored to receive this. I'm thrilled to be here and a part of this night. Pride is very important in our house. It's a family affair. Oh, dear God, I am worried for his children. We have skin in the game. So, and I haven't heard this, but one of David Tennant's children been unnecessarily influenced by the cult via his mom? Wouldn't be the first time we've seen like that something happen, now would it, boys and girls? So this event tonight thrills me. It gives me hope. It gives me fire. It gives me energy and deep joy. And even if I feel I don't really deserve this, I am very pleased and very proud to be receiving it. Thank you all so much. After the speech, he did an interview where he's asked why he decided to defend disordered lifestyles. Thank you for writing this, John Trent. I don't know if I feel like I've done anything that I wouldn't sort of normally be doing. For me, it's just common sense that there should be any suggestion that people aren't allowed to live the life they want to and be and to be who they want to be with and to express themselves wholeheartedly. I mean, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, everyone just needs to fucking butt out. And that's the problem. He doesn't understand how much hurt this is causing out there. If there's something that's particularly sober and depressing, it's that certain debates are being weaponized by certain elements of the political class, often for it's not ideological so much as opportunistic. And I just think that that's pretty disgusting reality. Once again, showing his ignorance of the arguments and showing that he doesn't understand what anybody who opposes all of this evil cult-like behavior that's being forced upon our children, he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't know anything about it because he hasn't engaged. He literally just sits on his lazy ass at his fucking house and has his wife hopefully at least bring him a sandwich with all the bullshit propaganda she shoves up his ass. It's fucking sad to see a man and an actor that I respected be this kind of weak. Just be this kind of absolute nonsense. It's ridiculous. So when asked what message you wanted to send so-called trans youth, which is not actually a thing, please don't feel like you're not loved, you're not accepted, yada, 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 yada. It's a tiny bunch of winging little fuckers on the wrong side of history, and they'll go away soon. Oh, will we, David? Because I'm pretty sure your own government shut down their transing society for kids. I'm pretty sure Bud Light lost billions of dollars in market cap because they decided to bet on Dylan Mulvaney. So explain to me, David Tennant, who's on the wrong side of history? Because I hate to tell you, homeboy, it's you. The culture has decided. They have come out and rejected this fucking bullshit cult nonsense. So, David, I am praying for you right now. I pray that you are not so far gone that when your wife brings home your kid and says they want to cut off their genitals, you might actually grow a fucking sack and stand up to them and go, no, you're not going to mutilate my kid. Maybe you should go out there and watch some of the videos about how, well, the sausage is made with these kind of surgeries, because it's disgusting, it's deeply disturbing, and it will terrify you for the rest of your life. But of course, you're not going to do that because you just want to sit on your lazy ass and have your wife force feed you all the information. So J.K. Rowling didn't put up with it, of course. Rowling shared her thoughts on Tennant, writing on Twitter, X, but the utterances of the gender Taliban receive special disposition, for they are the holy caste. Because yes, boys and girls. Billy Bragg here says, in no circumstances would the BBC referring to a privileged white man wishing for a female black leading politician and a daughter of immigrants to shut up and not exist as a mere row. But as J.K. Rowling so proudly points out, they're a protected class. And you always know, boys and girls, you want to know who's in charge? You want to know who's in charge of your culture? You want to know who is really running the show? Find out who you can't criticize. And that will tell you everything you need to know. So J.K. Rowling points that fact out. But the utterances of the gender Taliban receive special disposition, for they are a holy caste. This man is talking about rape survivors who want female-only care. The nurse is currently suing their health trust for making them change in front of a man, girls, and women, losing sporting opportunities to males and female prisoners incarcerated with convicted sex offenders. Once again, he has no idea whatsoever is going on. He doesn't know the real issues. He is ignorant. He lives inside of a bubble where the only information he gets from him is served up on a silver platter from his wife, where it continues to indoctrinate and poison his brain. He believes anybody, and people like J.K. Rowling and anybody else out there that disagrees with this nonsense, are absolute evil. They think he thinks we are the worst villains on the face of the planet because that's what he has been told. He has been told it's not about the kids and have an irreparable harm done to them that will forever scar them for the rest of their lives and have them literally living off the government tit and literally a slave to the medical industrial complex out there for the rest of their lives. No, he's not looking at any of that. He doesn't understand any of this kind of nonsense because he is a lazy ass of a man that is sitting on his butt and is getting force-fed information. So guess what? J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter franchise, who probably has more talent in her pinky finger than your ass does at this point, because you're willing to succumb to this kind of nonsense. You introduced so many people back into a show that had been dormant for far too long. And you instead want to come out here and spout this kind of nonsense, and you spout this kind of BS from a place of ignorance. I just pray that at some point, David Tennant actually grows a pair, gets his spine back, and stands up to this kind of nonsense. Because trust me, when it comes for your kid, David, you will be singing a very different tune. What are you going to say when your daughter loses out on a scholarship opportunity because they lost to a man who wanted to feel pretty? Or tell me how you're going to feel, David Tennant, when your son comes home and tells him he wants to cut off his genitals and you'll never get a grandkid. That your line will end because you thought being nice and polite and acceptable company was more important than the realities of the world. I pray you don't have to face that decision. But at the end of the day, the only way people ever get out of this kind of stuff before they ever realize the actual arguments to the other side of things is when it hits too close to home. It's when it becomes personal for them. We'll see what happens. But as of right now, J.K. Rowling is the one out there telling the truth, the one out there taughting this. And David Tennant is an ignorant asshole who literally just lets his wife tell him everything they do. And I can't tell you what, boys and girls, I can't think of a more pathetic man than someone who literally doesn't think for themselves and allows a woman to make all of his decisions for him.